Hey, thanks for taking the time to, well, you haven't got any choice, actually. I'm just talking at you, if you like. But I'm here also to present to you why I think it's not a bad idea and not that expensive as well if you become a member. And this is how you can do it, and this is what you can gain. So if we look here at the Talking Tennis sort of homepage, if you like, on YouTube, we can see this little button here which says join. It is also pinned in the live chat as well, and you can also, I think, see it just below most of our videos, certainly the live ones and so on. Now, why is it a good idea to join and become a member? Well, in the live chat, you can add little funny things, you can add emojis and all sorts of things, but possibly more importantly, you can get to access some live videos, such as this one here, where we look back on the last sort of few moments from the Billie Jean King Cup. So there are little bonuses such as this one, but there are many, many more. And in fact, if we have a quick look at all of the members only stuff, I repeat, you will see very, very quickly some of the top stuff that we've had for members only over the last 12 months since the channel began. Remember, these videos are for members only. You can become a member from as little as about $2 a month, €2 a month, £2 a month, something like that. There are various different things. Oh, and by the way, you'll also be supporting the channel. So it's a win-win-win-win scenario. Let me just show you some of the members only stuff. For example, we've got an exclusive little clip there talking to Laura Siegmund, Laura Tsurenko, her encore interview, some doubles footage there from Monastir, the Germany press conference pre-tournament Billie Jean King Cup, Claire Burrell talking as well to the media in her press conference in Monastir, Storm Hunter and Alicia Parks interview, Rebecca Masarova, her press conference, Coco Gauff exclusive for members only, albeit it was in Madrid. But these are just some of the things, some of the interviews and etc. Like Lestien here, a chat with him, Emma Navarro, and so on and so forth. So many little bonus videos available for just €2 a month. So what are you waiting for? Become a member. Or don't. It's okay. Hi, Novak. I don't know if you saw what Vasek said last night about organising and tennis could and should be even bigger than it already is. If only the people organising it were doing their job properly. He highlighted the balls, he highlighted playing late at night and then early in the morning and injuries. I just wondered whether you heard that, but also if you'd like to add something.
No, I haven't heard that. I actually saw Vasek just before I came here to see you guys, but I haven't seen his statement on that. But there's been a lot of discussions on the effect of the different balls and basically every week on the joints and the wrist and the shoulders and the elbows. And I think someone told me that in terms of injuries this year comparing to other years is drastically has gone up. So in terms of the balls, I absolutely agree. There should be some discussion on that. I actually spoke about that with Andrea Gaudenzi, the ATP president, and Massimo, who is the CEO, in Paris during the Paris-Bercy week. And I shared my opinion and my views, and then obviously they are thinking about various different options and ways of how to regulate that and how to make it better for the players and prevent injuries. In terms of the scheduling, I think there has been a lot of criticism and a lot of players complaining about it. So I think that should be addressed in a proper way. Obviously, Davis Cup and ITF is regulated differently from ATP Tour and from Grand Slams. You have different governing bodies, different schedules, different broadcasting demands. In the end of the day, we know that the TV is the one deciding, fortunately or unfortunately, but there has to be more, I guess, thorough discussions on that as well.
Wide from Jabeur, 40-30.
Nervy. I mean, she just wanted Sabalenka to make a mistake, I think, on that point.
She's playing for the Sabalenka unforced error. And then the minute she tried to go for the backhand, it was tight and dragged out wide. And the crowd are applauding. Her coach is trying to lift her up. One more match point.
She's done it with an ace!
Ons Jabeur has just made a Wimbledon final for the second year in a row. Ladies and gentlemen, what a comeback. What a player. Ons Jabeur, the hero of the Arab world.
I couldn't be happier.
The Wimbledon final.
Couldn't be happier. Tennis couldn't be happier.
Ready? Play.
My name is Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca George, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom. Yeah.
My name is Zainab Sammaz, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paolini, and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time.
Ready? Play. Ready? Play.
Very cool indeed, Sean. How are you, Matt? Did you watch that semi-final?
Yeah, I caught the final set, and I think this semi-final's got a bit of a tough act to follow after that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it certainly has.
Really close.
Yeah, indeed. Of course, you had a bit of a damn squib yesterday as well in the quarterfinal that you commentated on between who was it you did Svitolina against Rybakina.
Yeah.
There is a fear for me, and I've highlighted it once or twice before, that this could just be the Rybakina show for the rest of the tournament. In a way, a bit like Iga kind of, once she got past Osaka in the French Open, it sort of felt like, okay, now it's just going to be, at least on that side of the draw where Iga was, it was just like, going to be fairly much a formality. Do you see this match for Rybakina today and potentially the final as well being a formality?
I don't know. It's hard to say formality at any late stage in a Grand Slam, but obviously I think Krejčíková does have the advantage in the head-to-head, but I don't think they've played for quite a while. And Paolini does have the most recent victory over Rybakina, I believe, at Roland Garros. So it's definitely interesting. But yeah, I think the serve of Rybakina is the big, I guess, USP for her. And you can tell why she's won Wimbledon before, and you can tell. I think many would be surprised if she didn't take the title this year, and I think I would be in that camp as well.
Yeah, that's probably the best way of putting it. It just, I want drama. I want tight matches. I want uncertainty. But as you say, she's the hot favorite now. I mean, she's one of 2 Grand Slam winners that we're about to watch. But of course, Krejčíková came in a slightly different moment where women's tennis was at that time. But also it was on the clay of Paris. If this was a French Open semi-final, I would make Rybakina the favorite, but I would be in a little bit more doubt. I'm not saying, by the way, that Krejčíková is some kind of clay queen, because I think actually she's got a pretty good game for all surfaces, as she's proven during this fortnight at Wimbledon. But for Rybakina, she elevates her game, if you like, on this surface, right?
Yeah, I just think, I mean, even in the last match, I was thinking, because both players obviously were very tight, Vekic and Paolini, and I just thought if they had Rybakina serve, it would be such.
Yeah.
It would be so vital, and it would just set them apart. But yeah, I just, if Rybakina plays like she did yesterday, I'm struggling to see how Krejčíková could get a foot in the door. But time will tell.
Time will tell. Time will also tell us where we're at with our streams. I paused my previous stream with James so that we were in sync. I will talk us through this second point. Rybakina has already won the first point of the match, and then you'll be able to tell me whether I'm ahead or behind you. So I have 15 love for Rybakina right now.
Well, my first point hasn't even started, so I think that's
okay. So I am actually ahead. I'll probably put a bit of a pause on it then. And then we'll see if we were a bit closer together. I've already seen the second point.
Okay.
But I've got it on
just the second serve on the first point.
All right.
I'm significantly behind.
Are you on the second point yet?
So that's just 15 love now.
Cool. The second point ends with a backhand error from Rybakina into the net. And I think have you seen that backhand error into the net now?
No, I'm still just on the serve now.
Okay.
And there's the error. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. We should be just about right. I might be a second or two ahead or behind you, but I've got Rybakina now bouncing the ball at 15 all. And she's about to take her first serve, which she does now. I'm guessing I'm a second or two ahead.
Yeah, slightly, but we're all good.
Yeah, good. Yeah, so that's my view. I would love this, for example, I heard you talk about the first set being important yesterday. Chalk flying up there on the Rybakina serve, so that's a nice ace down the tee for her. Yeah, as you said, though, regarding that previous match, I mean, Jasmine, by the way, was fighting and enjoying the occasion as well. But if you just gave her a big serve, then, that would have been a bit more of a formality, that match. And, of course, it was anything but. But she said in her on-court interview, I served so badly.
Yeah, I think it was holding her back at points, and she really needs to up that first serve percentage. But I think just the fighting spirit, because Vekic's forehand was really strong in that match. And yeah, I've been very impressed with Jasmine Paolini. I mean, this whole year, but especially at this tournament.
Yeah, it's been an incredible year for Jasmine. Obviously, the peak was when she came on the show.
Of course.
That's a highlight. 40-15 here, Elena Rybakina, so a couple of game points. She gets away with that second serve, though, because it would have been a double fault, but it clipped the net and landed in. Damien will be joining us shortly, at some point, probably during this set or maybe at the end of the first set.
Nice.
I have some admin things to do, so I will probably dip out when he joins. Admin being just to prepare a thumbnail, and I'm going to be speaking to Amy Lundy. At the conclusion of this match, we will have another live show to preview the men's semi-finals. Would love to do a similar show for the women's semi-finals. It's just that there's not enough time.
No, yeah.
Whereas the men's semi-finals, you've got this nice 48 hours in which to do a preview, if you like. But that preview was not going to happen last night because I was quite busy, as you may have seen.
Yes. How was it? I mean, I can guess, but
yeah, it was great. It was great as well because obviously I wanted England to win, and they did, and it was quite dramatic. But also, it was England's best performance by a mile at the tournament.
yeah, it was.
For certainly the first half, it was kind of, we go 1-0 down, and it's like, oh, that's really disappointing because we're actually playing really well.
Yeah.
But we dominated the first half. The second half was a bit more even, I thought, but
yeah,
I think we fully deserved the win.
Yeah, the changes made a big difference.
Yeah, as well, which is something Gareth has been criticised for, but yeah.
It's all coming together at the right time.
So this is the VAR review. So they're reviewing the penalty right now, which came from nowhere for me, by the way. And I still, to this moment, haven't seen the incident that I know has been hotly debated. So you're going to hear a big cheer in a second when the VAR goes penalty. So that's the moment when the penalty was given. Talking football, here we are. Krejčíkova's looking okay on her serve at the moment. I will switch back if we get a break point. And now we've got Harry Kane stepping up. Of course, he missed one against France.
Yeah.
That was in my mind. Much later in the game and a bit more pressure, I think, because he'd already put one penalty away against France. And of course, he missed that one. And we were 2-1 down. We've been behind in each of our 3 knockout matches.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is interesting. Bit of gamesmanship from the Dutch goalkeeper. I got home at 6 o'clock this morning.
Wow.
I live about an hour to an hour and a half from Dortmund, so it's not, it's not a rudimentary trip home. If you include the walk from because I walked from the stadium back to the city centre, it's about a 45-minute walk. If you get early to a match, it's nice to do that walk to the stadium, even if it's a long one.
Yeah. Take it all in.
Anyway, I'm just going to play the penalty. He's stepping up now. Got a break point for Rybakina. Will she convert the break point before Harry Kane puts the penalty away? Come on, Harry, get on with it. And there we go.
Beautiful stuff.
People are tuning in going, oh, Wimbledon's a bit loud today. Yeah, okay, cool. Krejčíková saved the break point.
Well, I was going to say that I think, obviously, the crowd was really good for the first match, but I think for the early stages of this, it'll be a bit quieter.
Yeah, could be a bit like after the Lord Mayor's show. There's quite a few empty seats as well.
Hopefully, it will start to build up at the next change event.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But how do you feel about that rule that tennis has? Basically, you can't enter during a game like this.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's very. I think it's very venue dependent as well, but I'm not so keen at because they don't even really let you in after the first game, and I think
you can't even after the first game, even though they're going to change ends. Yeah,
and I think they probably should change that, but because I think the Australian Open were a bit more fluid with it, but
yeah,
I don't think Wimbledon will change it anytime soon.
No, I don't think so either. And this match has started very well for Elena Rybakina after a forehand error there from Barbora Krejčíková, meaning we have a 2-love lead already for the 2022 Wimbledon champion.
I was going to say as well about Jasmine Paolini, it'd be very interesting because obviously Vondrousova won last year, having not won a match at Wimbledon before, and Paolini had never won a match at Wimbledon before. So maybe 2 in a row.
It's not quite as dramatic, but the other stat that comes to mind is Medvedev not winning a match in Rome until he won the title.
Yeah.
I think all 3 are, equally improbable in their own different ways.
Yeah.
Paulini, of course, had an incredible year. So when I say improbable for her, the two elements are, if we go back to, say, January, if you'd have said to, anyone that she was going to make back-to-back slam finals, that would have been a difficult one to imagine. But also for me, I didn't really see her as being a grass queen. Also, maybe that little bit of luck she got against Madison Keys.
Yeah.
I mean, Madison wins that match. I mean, surely if she's healthy.
Yeah, I think sometimes in these draws you have just got to ride your luck, and she's got good streak of fitness. So it's just one of them things, unfortunately, for Keys.
Yeah.
Rybakina is looking strong so far.
Indeed.
And I do actually think that some players would be put off by being tagged as the favourite after some of the top seeds fell out the draw, but I don't think it bothers her. I think she'll embrace it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not something I think that her or Iga struggle with too much. I think somebody like Madison Keys, for example, when I saw the draw opening up and her in that particular half anyway, it was like, for me, one thing that I was concerned about with Madison was that how is she going to carry the favourite tag into pretty much every match? I think some people might have put Coco the favourite had they have met, but I was thinking it's sort of up to her, and I was more concerned with her, let's say, than I would be with somebody like Rybakina or Swiatek in dealing with that favourite tag.
Yeah.
We've got some interesting jeopardy here anyway, at least for the Rybakina serve. Jeopardy being juice. I mean, it's not quite panic stations. It's not like it's not like love 40 down in the deciding set or anything like that. But it's as much as we can clutch at it for now. It's a decent return. Okay. Didn't see this performance coming from. I think she was 40-15 on her serve, wasn't she, in this game?
So I would class this as jeopardy in terms of Rybakina's serve.
Yeah. Now we're in jeopardy territory.
And the thing is, I wouldn't say her first serve percentage was actually that high yesterday. It's just when it was in, it was causing so much damage.
Yeah. But she's in charge at this point. Krejčíková hanging on in there with some forehand slices.
I do think Krejčíkova's game, especially on the return, is probably better suited to neutralising the Rybakina serve than maybe a Svitolina. But
okay,
I just think the way she slices, I think, especially as well dealing with doubles, you've got big servers in there. So
Sidat here is optimistic about Barbora making it a fight. And Sidat, by the way, is a member, which is great. Good afternoon, John. Were you in the stadium for the football last night? I was indeed, Matthew. I was indeed. I won't be playing it again, but we had about a 90-second or 1 minute period of just listening to the stadium during the Harry Kane penalty situation. But yeah, good night at the office. And Rybakina is going to save another break point with an ace. There is a YouTube channel out there, ladies and gentlemen. It's a bit of a reveal, I think, for many people, and even for Matt right now. There is a YouTube channel out there called Talking Football, which has been recently created by myself. And yeah, I put some stuff up there from last night in Dortmund, so do check that out. And obviously hit subscribe on the channel. I was just about finding time to... I only just started it this week, Matt. How it grows, whether I get as much energy and as much time to dedicate to that as I do talking tennis, I think is is unlikely, but I'll probably do like a weekly podcast on there, and plus little bits, obviously for now, obviously at the Euros. 5 subscribers I have, Matt. 5.
Nice. I'll make it 6 after the stream.
Yeah, no worries. I haven't promoted it at all, just because it's in its infancy. I can see Damien. Damien, do you want me to bring you forward, or can you do it yourself? I can bring you forward. Yeah. Okay. There we go.
Yeah, I joined on my phone, so I can't do
Yeah,
it myself then. But yeah, hello guys. I know I told you, John, that I wasn't going to be watching the women's semifinals. I mean, especially the first one before joining the stream. But I actually did turn it on at 4:03 eventually. I do not regret it either.
No, I know. There's a fear that this semi-final, especially as Rybakina's already broken, is going to be potentially an anticlimax.
There were some chances now, and Krejčíková has been a tricky opponent in the past. Generally one of the toughest players to overwhelm, probably, unless your name is Elena and you beat her like 3 times in a month. But yeah, I do have that fear now as well, now that she's love 3 down, yes.
Yeah. I've paused my stream, Damien, so that I'm in sync with Matt. You absolutely don't have to do. You can do whatever you want, but just I try not to give Matt any spoilers. But that's what I.
Yeah, we'll see where he is then.
I know that our streams are pretty close. When I've got mine at live, because I can go. I'm obviously paused it for about a minute. Our streams this week have been pretty much in sync, which I've really enjoyed. And normally my Sky feed is lagging, let's say, by a point or 2 behind real time, whereas my Amazon Prime one is very good. Whenever I say Amazon Prime, Matt, I know that I'm confusing perhaps British viewers, because you guys will have been familiar with having a lot of tennis on Amazon Prime for the last few years, but it's now left Amazon and gone to Sky. But in Germany, Amazon have the rights to Wimbledon.
Yeah, I do miss it, but it's got.
How is it going? How is that transition over to Sky going? You prefer the Amazon coverage?
Well, in fairness, it was poor to start with because they didn't have a multi-match screening thing, but now they've updated it like a few months in, so it's got better. But I still would probably choose the Amazon coverage if I had the choice.
In terms of commentators and teams, it's fairly similar. I guess that a lot of there was a few people who transitioned over.
Yeah, it's pretty similar. The commentators, I'd say, are more similar than the presenting teams. A bit different.
Oh, okay, yeah. Seems to be a few insects flying around, bothering Barbora. Does Barbora have any hope, Damien? I mean, I feel that this Wimbledon this year we've had a bit like at the French Open, we had loads of drama in various other moments, but it still feels like there's one player that's just going to serenely walk away with the title.
Yeah, it's felt like that over the past 2 days. I mean, Rybakina not exactly the most consistent player in the world, of course. Krejčíková has a lot of ways of like keeping the ball uncomfortable for you. Maybe. I mean, she also serves pretty well. We haven't seen it maybe yet today, but she could keep up with Rybakina in that department in a way that maybe some other opponents, including Jasmine Paolini, potentially in the final cannot. But yeah, we haven't really seen it today yet. So for now, it's looking pretty brutal. I mean, it would be good if, for example, for her, if Rybakina just missed that last winner, right? But I think it was just like straight on the line.
Matthew here is suggesting about having a longer break. I'm not sure. I think that could go 2 ways. First of all, I think it was a pretty lengthy break, probably about half an hour between the 2 matches. You could also make the break too long and that the people just go home or don't come back or.
I think it was still pretty long. Like I actually was watching another match at the time, and I remember thinking that okay, so this is probably going to be like, and they're going to be ending the first set by the time that one is over, even if it's in straights, but it wasn't. And also, like, you don't want to make the gap long because, well, you want the players to have the same rest time, right? I mean, what happens if we play for 5 hours here? Obviously, it's very unlikely in the best of 3 format, but it could happen.
Yeah. And then there is another thing. Who's that guy in the feeler hat? I recognize him. He's a player, I think. Maybe he's just a coach. I don't know. Anyway,
he looked like Dominic Kepfer.
Yeah, that's who it looked like. Yeah.
Yeah, he looked like Dominic Kepfer. I know.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
I looked at him and I was like, what is Dominik Kepfer doing here? But yeah, it doesn't make sense. It's probably the coach of Krejčíková simply.
Yeah. Matt, or I was nearly called you Matthew there, but Matt, there's a question about two epic semi-finals happening, on the same day. On the women's side, I remember the US Open of 2020. That was a pretty epic day. I'm not sure if there's been any others in recent years that I'm missing.
Yeah, I just think it's so difficult to follow up after that last one,
Yeah.
and I do think the crowd being quite sparse is relevant. I think it's hard to have such an epic when the crowd aren't particularly there. I mean,
yeah, they were very engaged in the previous match. Donna had
Yeah.
her fans, but I think some of the neutrals probably were rooting for Jasmine because she's so likable. Terry's amazed by the double break.
It's looking tough for Rybakina now. No, Krejčíková, my bad.
Yeah. 19 minutes on the clock.
What was the time in which Rybakina won the first set against Wozniacki? Was it like 20 minutes? I think it was.
Was it less than an hour yesterday, Matt, her quarterfinal as well? About 59 minutes or something like that?
Yeah, it was about on the hour.
Yeah. She did drop a set, didn't she, to Siegmund?
Friend of the show.
Yeah, friend of the show, Laura Siegmund. By the way, Damien, do we think that Jasmine's, like, when we talk about her highlights from 2024, obviously, getting the French Open final, winning a WTA 1000, making the Wimbledon final, but still at the top is the moment she got named friend of the show.
John. It depends on that hypothesis of like whether you have the crush on her or whether she does on you. And then maybe one of her highlights of the season would be talking to you, but I don't know. I feel like probably the
check out the video, people. Check out the video and you'll see.
Yeah, almost the Channel Slam. I think that's a little bigger, but she does still deserve to be named a friend of the show. In fact, she's one of the biggest friends of the show, if not the biggest, and not in terms of
coming on. She keeps coming on. Like, I think she was on. She's been on the show more times than she's been in Slam finals.
Precisely, yeah. I think she's been on the show more than Scott Barclay, probably. So,
yeah. She's been on the show more times this year than Jethro.
Yeah, I think she's a bigger friend of the show than Scott and Jethro by now. Yeah.
Matthew here saying about cementing the big three in women's tennis if Rybakina wins. Well, what's the situation?
One person will have the US Open title, right? If Rybakina wins, every single player in the top four has a slam to her name.
Yeah,
so
their names in the last 12 months, yeah.
It would be very fitting. It would be very nice, I think. And in general, I don't think we can quite exclude Coco from that conversation.
If she does win it, no problem. But can we have some drama? Can we have some peril? Can we have some jeopardy? Matt, maybe that would be nice if Barbora was to take a set today, or in the final, Jasmine managed to go up an early break or something. Mind you, Jasmine went up an early break over Riga, and that didn't really make any difference.
I was going to say, I think Krejčíková needs to start with a game, and then we'll go to sets. But it's looking, and she's not even playing that badly. I just think Rybakina's power is it's so perfect for the grass.
John seems to have disappeared, but we will have. I'm actually still not sure where you are with your stream, but there's going to be a breakpoint for Krejčíková. So
yeah, so
I don't know where you are.
You're slightly ahead, but if you lead it, and I'll just add my sort of.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I'm used to this because I'm usually ahead, and I'm absolutely fine not spoiling anything. But cool. This is the hope that we have right now. This is the moment when she can actually turn some things around. So.
This is it. I don't think that the difference in games and the difference in points, I think, would be surprising. I don't think Krejčíková's played badly.
It's her service games that have gone wrong. Like the Rybakina ones, they've been close. It's Krejčíková's serve that's been kind of the issue here.
Yeah, because it's not even just Rybakina's serve; it's the return as well, which is so strong. Wow. The match is alive.
Yeah, okay, so it's now more or less. Okay, now I'll know. Yeah, it's alive. I mean, I think she also had some chances in the Love 2 game, right?
Yeah,
So,
I think
it's not that
I think the big thing now will be how actually backing that with holding her own serve, because she could easily just get broken and back down to the double break and 5-1.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Krejčíková does have some good serves in her arsenal. Obviously, that's also one of the strengths of her game. It was actually very important in getting her over the line in the semi against Ostapenko. It was actually kind of more her return that was struggling, especially when she couldn't chip it in. But so far, she's keeping it nice and low for Rybakina as well. Yeah, it's definitely more Barbora's games that have been the issue in this match so far. I do also feel like this is probably still the more like the tougher match for Rybakina potentially. So it would be good if we get the classic here, and sort of ahead of the final, we will be thinking, is it just going to be the repeat of the French Open again? And who knows?
Yeah, I mean, Rybakina has lost to Paolini, but it's a different ball game, I think, on grass compared to clay.
Should be. I think she's lost to all of the potential, like all of the other semifinalists, right? I saw this, like someone on Twitter yesterday posted all 3 head-to-heads in one post. And basically against Barbora, of course, she was 0-2 down in the head-to-head, and against Paolini and Vekic, it was like pretty close. But yeah, I mean, it's not that much in terms of like, we shouldn't look at it as just, of course she's going to struggle. Not really. It doesn't work like that. I mean, Vekic has a fantastic head-to-head against Sabalenka, for example, and yet when they played in the Australian Open last year, well, of course, here she avoided Arena based on that injury mostly, but took advantage of it beautifully and made the semi. Very close to making the final. Will Donna Vekic ever make another Grand Slam semi-final? Will she ever get another chance for a final?
I'm going to say no, to be honest. I think that's my gut feeling. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, that's the sad truth, I think, that it is quite kind of unlikely. I mean, before this slam, if someone asked you, would have said, well, probably she's not going to make a semi ever now. I know years are coming by. She hasn't done that. She's obviously been pretty dangerous from time to time. But yeah, only 2 quarterfinals over the years, 2019 and 2023. Both against sort of like, better opponents than Lulu Sun for sure. But still, yeah, it was unexpected before this year. I'm not sure much has changed. Although I do kind of tend to think that maybe if she had another semi, then she would probably just be more ready for it emotionally, mentally. Because today, well, she was just so, just so overly emotional, right? I mean, she was crying when she didn't break for at 5-all in the third, for example. It's kind of impressive that she even got to 8-all in the third set tiebreak, in that state. She was still pretty clutch, saving the match points, which was probably more shocking to me than anything else in that match, really.
Yeah, she looked exhausted. I would say more emotionally exhausted than physically, but she's played a lot of 3-setters in this tournament. As Rybakina is looking likely to take that break, double break straight back.
Yeah, it's rough because like nothing is on Krejčíkova's racket here. She's, especially on her serve, right? I mean, it's all been Rybakina, and it's kind of the prerequisite, I think, for playing Elena on grass, that you need to get your holds in check. You need to have some sort of ability to get 3 points, and yeah, so far she's just getting blasted off the court.
And it's kind of difficult to see where this could really change. I mean, you say about more first serves, but even then, I'm not sure. Is there anything she can do?
Yeah, there were a couple of first serves, I think, in this game, but they just weren't. I mean, they didn't do enough. They still got Rybakina into the point in like neutral gear, and Krejčíková had nothing to potentially end the rally with. And yeah, I would agree also with you then, sort of coming back to that point, that I think for me the Vekic tiredness was more mental than physical. I saw a lot of tweets about it on social media, as in like, sorry for her because she's struggling again in like a big match for her physically. To me, she was mostly struggling there, kind of, it's not her fault really. I mean, obviously she was there for the first time, it's the biggest match of her career, but I think she mostly got herself into these issues rather than actually was injured or anything.
Yeah, I would agree. Rybakina herself, 30 love up, serving for the first set.
Just had a melon.
You said you like melons more than watermelons.
Yeah, but actually, I'm a bit disappointed this one. A bit disappointed. Yeah, it's from the supermarket. Maybe that's why. But yeah, not the best one.
In what way was it disappointing?
I sort of knew it from the minute I cut into it. And by the way, it's not like it's raw or anything. I've had it I bought it like probably 5 or 6 days ago. And normally when you open a melon after that period of time, it's much softer. But also just not that flavoursome, not that sweet sensation that I was hoping for. Yeah. And I've just opened it. And so that means I've basically got 90% of a melon left. So I've got 90% more of disappointment to go through.
Again, like Krejčíková is just only really doing damage with returns today. At some point, she will have to start actually serving as well in order to win this match.
Another chance.
Yeah. I'm not getting too excited, but
it just feels like even if she breaks, it's just going to get broken straight back. That's how it feels right now.
Yeah, all 3 games were absolutely brutal on the Krejčíková serve so far. So yeah, not too much excitement yet, but maybe for the second set it will be.
You've got to keep hope somewhere.
But the men's event looks much closer, than the women's one right now.
Yeah, how would you call that? Because I think particularly one semi-final, I think is more. I actually think both semi-finals are tricky to call.
Yeah, I don't hate Musetti's chances if it's not indoors and if it's not fast. It should be outdoors tomorrow. It should be cloudy, but like still pretty chilly as well, which I think is really good for him. Like the less damage that Novak can do with her serve, the more Musetti actually has a shot. Like off the ground, he can definitely mess him up a bit. He did that, at Roland Garros twice. Of course, it's grass, but is it really that much of a difference? Sort of second week grass outdoors. I just wouldn't want to see a semi-final like the 4th round against Rune, where they play indoors and Novak's serve is just unbeatable. He wins everything in 2 free shots. And then, of course, Musetti, I mean, that's something that with his game, he probably can't keep up with. But he already had a pretty nice lead up to this one with Fritz, I think. Just kind of similar game style that he's going to try to perform. He's showing that on the second week grass, especially, you can kind of just play defensively and counter. And when he was courageous, he was doing well. And Alcaraz Medvedev, still a good matchup for Carlos, right? I mean, I understand everyone saying that it's probably going to be closer than last year. I have to say that last year we were all saying that, oh yeah, this match is going to be close between Medvedev and Alcaraz.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
It was just a total beatdown, especially the first set, even though the scores were actually the same in every set. But yeah, I mean, sure. I can buy into that maybe it's going to be closer. Medvedev can return a bit closer to the baseline now than he did last year for sure. When he tried it last year in the semifinals, he was just absolutely useless with it. So yeah, it should be a bit closer, but I don't know if I still am actually buying into that upset. Like, to me, it's like if this event is Rybakina's to lose, to me the men's is Alcaraz's to lose.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think, obviously Djokovic didn't play his quarterfinal? Do you think that gives him an advantage having a day off, or do you think the rhythm's gone?
There are two ways to look at it. I mean, some people say that it's not even an advantage, right? That like the lack of rhythm can also be an issue. I think at this stage and sort of with just coming back after the knee injury, I think it's good for him. Is it good enough for me to say that if he makes the final and Alcaraz is on the other end, is it like enough that for me to think that Djokovic is going to be the favorite? Probably not, unless we see something crazy in the semis, which will sort of lead me to change my mind. But yeah, I would still think Carlos is the favorite. Of course, he's going to have a lot more time on court, but he should be ready for it. I mean, he won the US Open 2 years ago after like 30 hours on court. Of course, it wasn't 30 hours, it was like 20 something. I just don't remember. But yeah, I mean, he should be ready, I think. I don't think it will be the difference maker. If it was the other way around, right, that the young player has all the rest and the old player plays 5 hours every match, then probably.
Yeah, I think Djokovic has done this so many times, that rhythm, I think he could find it back as soon as he wanted to.
Oh, wow. Oh, my. This game is just...
Oh. It's kind of just revealed all the fears we had about the double break.
Yeah, I mean, how is Krejčíková supposed to hold? I'm watching this match for the past 20 minutes, 30 minutes, let's say, and I have no idea. How is she supposed to actually win a game on serve? The only point she's won in this game, right, so far, is the one where she landed a shot on the baseline, and Rybakina was challenging it, so...
Sean saying that he thought Djokovic would be back this year after having knee surgery. I mean, I think I always thought he'd be back this year. I think when people hear knee surgery, they just think that, like, knee replacement, and that's a lot more dramatic than I think what Djokovic had. But it is still very impressive for him to come back as soon as he has.
Yeah, I mean, from what some people were saying, I mean, obviously I have no medical experience whatsoever, medical knowledge, but it's like one of the least invasive procedures you can get on your knee, really. But yeah, of course, still there was concerns whether he would even play Wimbledon, and he's in the semifinals, so that's a fantastic result for him. He actually hasn't made a final yet this year in any event. So, very likely we could say that this will be the first kind of satisfying result for him of the season if he makes the final, because that's the standard that he expects from himself. So, yeah, I mean, of course, it's great for him to be back so early and already into the semis. Has it been a pretty easy draw? Sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, I actually think he's playing better now than he was at the time before he had his surgery. I don't know if his focus has shifted. I don't know if it's like... It just seems like he's on it again.
On a mental level, yes. I do still kind of want to see what happens when someone tests the knee, really, like really forces him to cover that forehand corner, but we just didn't get that from Rune at all. His own forehand was so volatile on offense that it was impossible. Popyrin kind of did that. Fernley kind of did that, but it's still like not that top tier quality. But I'm very aware of the fact that that top tier quality is really like, just a select few. And with his draw, it looks likely that maybe the first player to actually do that is going to be in the final. Although, as I said, I do have some belief in Musetti potentially keeping it close if Novak's serve isn't doing too much damage.
Yeah, I've just seen Rybakina bury that forehand into the net at a set point. It's really
that was a
that.
very lucky break for Barbora.
Yes, very. But she's now got a chance to hold for the first time in this match.
And she won a point which actually looked like repeatable, right? I mean, she won a point where she had a serve and then +1 winner or something like that. But yeah, otherwise she's just really winning after the Rybakina errors here. So I don't know. First hold would be massive. We'll see if she gets there. But
Yeah, it's just another forehand going long and back to juice.
Yeah, her own shots are not really getting through the court, and certainly not in the way that Rybakina's are.
Because I think a lot of people were surprised that she beat Ostapenko yesterday, I think myself included. But it's just not really translated to today. I think Rybakina is just a different beast.
I mean, you can kind of see how she would do well, though, against Ostapenko, because like mostly what she's doing here so far is just returning well and kind of keeping the ball uncomfortable for an opponent who wants to kill the point in like 2-3 shots. And when the pressure is on Barbora to actually create something or attack, she's struggling. And against Ostapenko, she just had no pressure like that at all, right? I mean, Ostapenko is gonna try to like finish off the point in 1-2 shots every single time, and she's basically gonna do it for you. Well, I mean, I think she was definitely serving better yesterday, but she gets that first hold, and maybe somehow we will have a match out of this.
Yeah, I mean, if she can break now, then it actually might be game on. The Rybakina serve is where she's been finding more success, which maybe some people are surprised by, but just kind of neutralizes that serve.
Yeah, I think I was expecting her to have a bit less to say on return, and then definitely a lot more to say on serve. But as you said, I mean, it's one break. It's literally one game, and we haven't really had an easy hold for Rybakina in the last few, I think so.
It's not the start she'd want. A backhand spraying wide.
I think the last 4 editions of Wimbledon, Rybakina has only lost to Chopin and Sabalenka, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, they were showing the stats about best win percentage, and she was like near the best ever.
Yeah, and it still took like a ridiculous performance from Jabeur to beat her. I don't actually remember that much of Sabalenka too well. 2021, I guess that was the year when Sabalenka played in the final against Barty, but I don't know. I don't really remember that encounter with Rybakina. Probably wasn't yet. I mean, of course, she was on the radar, and like kind of just before the pandemic, she had a big breakthrough. But I think it wasn't until 2022, and at some point of the event, we actually started thinking, okay, I mean, she could win it. And yeah, sure she did. But by 2021, probably not yet that much hype. Funny enough, I think even last year at some point of the event, there were talks whether like Rybakina could dominate Wimbledon the same way Świątek could at the French. I mean, it's a long way, but I don't know. She wins it like 2 or 3 times in a row, and she'd kind of be doing that.
I think I'd be just a lot more surprised if Świątek lost at Roland Garros than if Rybakina lost at Wimbledon. But I definitely think Rybakina's got 2, 3, possibly 4 Wimbledon titles in her career, especially if she wins this year.
Yeah, if she wins this year, I think she's got 2 easily. Yeah. And it would be very big as well for her, because this would be the first one she wins with points. This would be the first one she wins where, it's not a massive topic and sort of the only topic around her that she is representing Kazakhstan while coming from Russia. Yeah. So, yeah, I would definitely love that for her. And it does feel like she's like kind of winning a lot this year, but not exactly rewarded with titles or big titles, should I say.
Yeah, and she does get that hold to take the first set 6-3. So it was actually a lot more close than it looked like it was going to be, but still, Rybakina held strong.
Yeah. Just one break, but 10 points won, 10 points up Rybakina in terms of the total points won. It was still a pretty dominant one, but maybe if Krejčíková can start holding more regularly, she still has something to say in this match in the second set. But yeah, I think like that's kind of the main deal breaker here. If Barbora can start holding, then something will actually happen. I mean, she won 3 games in this set. Well, one was a hold, and that was from 15-40, and that was after that pretty ridiculous Rybakina miss. Otherwise, she broke Rybakina twice. So.
I was going to say, I think Krejčíková just needs to keep the ball in, because unforced errors, Rybakina's hit 15 compared to Krejčíkova's 7, and I think just to keep the points going, I don't think Krejčíková needs to be rushing these points, because, yeah, I don't think that will play in her favour.
Yeah, I mean, on serve, on return, she doesn't even have a chance to rush it. On
No.
serve, sometimes she had these problems, maybe, but, well, you still want to win the point somehow and not just give Rybakina 5 balls in the middle and allow her to smash you off the court. But yeah, it would help if she was able to like clean up these points a little bit more efficiently on serve. But we'll see. Looks like it's going to be a very quick break.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, obviously, Krejčíková was a multi-time doubles Grand Slam champion. Do you think coming to the net would be a wise strategy, or do you think it's Rybakina's got too much power to pass her?
It's rarely going to be. I don't even think it's about passing. I think it's just rarely an option for Barbora.
Yeah.
On return, she's never really going to get these chances. However, I think on serve, sure, if an opportunity pops up, she should be closing down the net. As you said, she's absolutely masterful doubles player. And maybe there were a couple of rallies in the opener where like she couldn't really find a way to hit past Rybakina, and she maybe could have moved forward. But yeah, it's not easy against someone like that, obviously, when the weight of shot is just so impressive, and getting to the net might be extremely difficult. Not actually even like, not getting past, but just getting there.
With Krejčíková 7-1 in the second set, I think she has to avoid getting broken, because an early break could be almost game over.
Yeah, Krejčíková's game is usually also so interesting on other surfaces because like she can mix it up so well, right? And throws in these moon balls, but like it's not really a thing on grass.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would still like her to like maybe try to get these forehand slices in like she did against Ostapenko. But I guess for now she's not really going for that, and maybe it's just, I mean, I don't know. The weight of shot probably coming at her is similar, but yeah. Some pretty awful misses from her right now as well. And yeah, I totally agree that this is a very crucial game, even though it's so early in the second.
Merlan, giving you some praise for your technical understanding.
Wow, Nurlan. Thank you. I don't really get these compliments from Nurlan. Most often he's just saying I'm worse than someone else in talking tennis and some ridiculous stuff. But anyway, thank you, Nurlan. Rybakina is the best returner in the game right now. Very interesting comment from Nurlan. Kind of hit or miss, but she's probably not that far down the sort of lists in terms of return points won and stuff. Yeah, I'm just reading the comments now, and there was more of a regular Nurlan question earlier. Do I think Sinner should have asked out Rybakina instead of Kalinskaya? Kalinskaya has been with a few tennis players by now, right? I mean, I don't know. She likes the tennis players, and well, she is also a tennis player, so makes sense.
Getting even more compliments now this time from Sean, who says you're better than Rybakina's return.
Yeah, that's the type of comment that Nurlan usually leaves. Although I would be on the other side of that mark, and Rybakina's return would be higher. Yeah, Barbora. I still don't know how she's supposed to win these games. I mean, Of course, she probably didn't need to donate these 2 backhand errors from 30 love up, right? But last few points, it's just all Rybakina again. She either misses or she lands.
Yeah, I think Krejčíkova's kind of just got to hope that the unforced errors have just come for Rybakina, because there doesn't look to be much other option.
Kind of interesting that she's finding it so much more difficult than against Ostapenko. I guess Rybakina isn't quite as sort of intent on killing every single point with the first shot as Elena.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't really see the same sort of play from Krejčíková as yesterday. I mean, yesterday she was really playing that forehand slice a ton and just kind of mixing it up, making it so tough for Elena to like keep adjusting to the kind of ball that she was getting from her. And today you don't really see it whatsoever. I mean, she's just struggling all around. Ooh, I mean, I haven't seen this breakdown be so lopsided yet. There's this like shots in attack, right, that they're showing, and Rybakina is 30% on the attack in 30% of the rallies. Krejčíková in 15% in the first set. Jesus, I don't think I've seen it be so lopsided. Musetti Fritz was pretty crazy yesterday. It was like 31-20 maybe or something like that at some point when they showed it. Of course, that was before the whole Musetti comeback. But yeah, that's very striking as well. And it would probably be fairly similar, to be honest, if we saw Ostapenko against Krejčíková, but like Barbora had so much more to say there off the ground, and it's pretty disappointing that today it's looking like it so far. But well, she is she is level in the second. Well, not even ahead in the second set. For
yeah, it was important that she got that first hold, especially when she had to save break point to do so. It'd be interesting to see if she can make inroads on Rybakina's serve again.
Great technical skills like no other on tour, says Real Hector about Krejčíková. Fair. I would definitely love to see that Świątek-Krejčíková matchup again. It was very entertaining whenever we got it. And seems like against Rybakina in the past, she was also doing the same. I mean, Ostrava 2022, it was actually Krejčíková Rybakina in the semis, playing an amazing match. And then in the final, an even better one, Krejčíková-Świątek. So
yeah, I was going to say that Ostrava final was a classic.
Absolutely, yeah. Perhaps one of the best matches of the year. By the way, Vekic-Paolini, sure candidate for like a match of the year shortlist.
Yeah, agreed.
I think this year we've had also Świątek-Sabalenka in Madrid as well, which has to be there, and probably Świątek-Osaka as well in Paris. Yeah. I don't think it was like kind of as thrilling from every minute to the last. I mean, it was narratively. I don't think there was that much drama in like every game. Maybe there was a large chunk of that match that Naomi just dominated. But yeah, the story and also the comeback in the third set. So I would say these three are kind of the sure things for the top 5, top 7 at the end of the year, whatever we'll be making in talking tennis. I think last year we did top 7 for both ATP and WTA. John has already suggested to me that he might be thinking of a top 5 this year. So I think these three will surely be involved in the discussion and probably make it into the top 5. Vekic-Paolini, yeah, today.
Definitely. I mean, Nolan is wanting to ask us both some rapid fire questions. Can you ask us? It depends what the questions are, I guess.
We'll try to answer. Yeah,
yeah, go for it.
Barbora put those balls in the corners so easily versus Penko, says Real Hector. Yeah, it's just a very different match, despite the opponents seemingly playing similar tennis, right? I mean, I'm not really sure why that's the case. Why we're seeing just a completely different, even play style from Krejčíková today. I would even say lack of play style today. There's no idea behind her game whatsoever today.
Yeah, it's very reactive and rather than proactive, I would say.
Yeah, which is fair, but you can still like defend actively and yeah, just make it tough, make it uncomfortable, make it tricky for the opponent. She was doing it beautifully yesterday, but she for some reason is finding it so hard to execute it today. Wow, Nurlan. I've always been into brunettes. I think the last blonde girl I had a crush on was like before primary school. So generally brunettes. But if there was a very, if there was a blonde girl that I vibed with, it would not be a factor that would just say no, definitely not. It's not a big preference for me. No. Wow, Nurlan is really surprising us with these rapid fires, I think.
He's bringing out all the stops.
I've never driven a BMW. In Poland, at least, they have a reputation as like, they get like people buy them for their kids and kind of they drive like 30-year-old BMWs and very like reckless drivers just crash into something with them. I don't know. I think we had a Mercedes when I was a kid, so I guess I would say Mercedes. I just don't have that negative sort of feeling about it as I do for BMW. And WTA or ATP, Nurlan, you know my answer.
BMW has the same sort of reputation in the UK as well, so.
I would like to be watching more WTA, but there's not enough hours in the day, honestly. If you want to follow, especially the Challenger Tour as sort of extensively as I do, I just don't feel like I have time to also follow the WTA Tour every week of the year, every sort of day of the year. But of course, I do watch the slams. I do watch most of the main tour events. So, but yeah, if it's this or that, then it's obviously ATP for me. Snahid is asking you if you watch cricket.
Sometimes I wouldn't say I'm like an avid cricket fan, but yeah, from time to time I drop in. I think some of my family members are big cricket fans, so I kind of get most of my information from them. But yeah, I watched a bit of the T20 World Cup, which I guess some people wouldn't say is proper cricket, but I found it quite entertaining.
I mean, anytime Barbora seems like she's gonna get a hold, she just kind of ends up shooting herself in the foot again, and it's just not easy. Nothing is coming her way that easily today. And also Nurlan with the last rapid fire, age-old question: Messi or Ronaldo? We talked about it with John like a week ago. Like, personally, I like Ronaldo more, but if you're asking about like the GOAT, it's Messi. Like statistically and everything, it just doesn't make any sense for me to make that argument. So I probably like Ronaldo more. I don't care much for either. I'm a Pele guy, actually. So, but yeah, if we're talking about just numbers, of course, Messi has the better one. Is that also cricket? What Snahid is mentioning?
Yes,
the fast bowling? Okay.
Yeah, James Anderson is an English bowler. The fastest, the greatest fast bowler ever. I want to call it, but he's definitely up there. I would say top 5 easily.
Ooh, that's a nice save from Krejčíková, but yeah, she's still like hanging on by a thread in all of these holds. So it's rough, but maybe she actually gets through somewhere. And yeah, I also laughed at that Sean comment for sure. John's book or the Bible. I mean, I don't have the Bible at home. I also don't have John's book. If he ever sends me a copy, I guess it will be more important to me, given that then I will have John's book. I did used to own a Bible though. When you have your first communion in Poland, probably everywhere, it's pretty common to give someone a copy of the Bible. I read the first 5 books even. So I would say I've read more of the Bible than of John's book for now. Maybe that will change in the future. And USA or Russia, Nurlan? I mean, well, right now it's tough not to say the US. The US has had some wars as well, which it caused, without any reason. But right now it's tough not to say the US, I suppose. Although generally I don't have a preference. Even the defeats, yes. You see it. You saw it flashing on the screen.
Yeah, he's plugging his book in the comments, our producer.
Anytime he can.
As he should.
Yeah, if I wrote a book, I would be flagged. Nah, maybe, I don't know. Depends if I was proud of it. But if I was proud of it, I would be flagging, and it's everywhere as well.
This is a lengthy game, this one, a bit back and forth, but it does feel like Krejčíkova's clinging on to the service game.
Yeah, it's not easy. Again, I don't feel like she actually has much of a strategy in terms of winning that one, but maybe she finally will somehow. Really wanted Vekic to be in that final, DK, says Jake. I mean, she was ahead the whole match, right? She was literally just ahead the whole match. So I think it's kind of on her for getting so emotionally overloaded. And yeah, just especially that moment when she started crying when she didn't break at 5-0. I think that was especially striking. And I was just thinking, can you really win a match like that? And to her credit, she was doing very well in saving these match points and kind of keeping herself in it despite being so emotional. So good for her. I mean, she fought well despite that, but yeah, I think she kind of shot herself in the foot there. And of course, she was ahead the whole match, the better grass ball striker as well.
Yeah, I suppose as someone who's a challenger, ATP challenger follower, Snelly Heel is asking you the comments, Pair or Tomic?
Tomic is funnier to me. I think he's the better legend in terms of just the more memorable drama, I think. So I would maybe say Bernie, and also with funnier play style, I think. I mean, Perry is also going to be remembered because if you are talking about guys who had like insane backhands but 0 on the forehand, then he's always going to be mentioned. And of course, there's been some great drama with him as well. But I would say the Tomic story, sort of Lord Tomic and the whole cult, I think Tomic is kind of going to be a bigger legend in my book. So probably I would say Bernie. Yeah. There was also Ash Barty or Serena. I don't know. It's just so tough to compare. Serena has definitely disappointed me on like a personal level a few times. She's had these instances when she just kind of does something wrong and then says everyone around her is just racist because they pointed out, like the US Open final against Naomi, for example, and calling Carlos Ramos a thief and that whole deal, and the line umpire that she threatened. So I guess Ash is just a more likable personality for me, but obviously in terms of achievements, it's definitely Serena. In terms of watchability, pretty close for me. But yeah, congrats to Barbora Krejčíková getting that game. That was lengthy. That was again so crucial. It does feel like she's kind of just fighting to stay in this match rather than actually fighting to win it. But maybe that will turn out differently soon.
Yeah, back-to-back holds for the first time, I think.
Even 3 in a row, right?
Well, yeah, because good point.
Yeah, Jake, I actually do have a lot of memories with Per from that COVID period when he played Hamburg. I was doing the virtual accreditation that year, 2020, I think, and he like that was the year when he was at the US Open. He got a positive COVID test, then he got a negative one, then a positive, and that whole conference was just very. I don't even know if it was funny, off-putting, or what was it, or what was that, but it certainly was just such a mess. The story that he described, and yeah, for a couple of years, he was just out of the tour completely. I think he deserves a lot of credit for what he did last year in 2023, getting himself back to that top 100-ish level. And that was impressive. But yeah, right now it just seems like the body is saying no. Even yesterday, he lost to Krejčíková in Trieste. And that was just another loss in a streak that I think has been pretty long by now. Legend of the frozen rankings, one could even say, because I think Benoit, despite not barely winning matches for 2 years during the COVID time, he was still like very high up in the rankings. Some minor chances missed by Krejčíková here or there. That 15-all point, if she landed that backhand, could have been great. Jesus. Questions are getting weird now that Ghosty tuned into it as well. Korda or Jesus of Nazareth? I'm not even going to answer that, you know. But apartment or house with a yard? I don't know. For now, I don't mind living in an apartment. In the future, if I had the chance to move to a house, I definitely like that I grew up in a house, but for now, I think an apartment is actually a better choice for me. Yeah. I thought something might be cooking up here when Krejčíková had that 30-all point. She forced an error. I mean, it was 15-15. Well, 30-15 from Rybakina's perspective, and she forced that error. Seemed like she might actually get something here, but yeah. Taylor Swift or Dua Lipa? Dua Lipa has one really good album, not the new one. Whereas Taylor Swift, I don't actually care for her music too much. So yeah, I'd say Dua Lipa for me, although obviously Taylor is the bigger star worldwide. Thoughts on if we get Rybakina versus Paulini, says Jake. Do you think it would be more competitive than Roland Garros final, but still that one-sided? Or still that one-sided?
I think Rybakina would win regardless, to be honest, but I'm hoping it's more competitive than this, because I know the second set is closer, but it does kind of feel like we're waiting for Rybakina to get that break and really just move away.
Yeah. I think Rybakina would probably be the favorite over Paulini pretty sizably, and just it's tough to do it easier than Świątek did at Roland Garros, simply because it was like a 6-2, 6-1 or something like that.
Yeah.
But it could be kind of similarly easy while maybe a couple more games go Jasmine's way. I wouldn't be too confident in Paulini's chances in the final.
Yeah, I just think similarly to Krejčíková, I actually think Krejčíková's got a better serve than Paulini, but the return games are going to be so strong for Rybakina regardless.
Worth remembering, though, that Rybakina lost to Paulini at Roland Garros, right?
Yes, yeah. It's just whether that could be repeated is unclear. But I don't know if Rybakina was hampered in that match, but it's definitely worth taking in if Paulini does play Rybakina.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be mentioned in all the pre-match conversation. It will be a huge storyline. Is it actually, does it actually mean something? I think a couple of days ago I tweeted something like, sort of on grass, even if Rybakina has that kind of a B day, then she can just serve her way out of trouble usually. So maybe that's a big difference. At Roland Garros, she didn't really have that way of maybe stealing a match in a way, even if her game wasn't sharp on the day against Jasmine. So yeah, it definitely makes things a lot more tricky for the Italian. Maybe she will just fight her way to another victory. Who knows? I mean, she was pretty incredible today with how she just never really stopped with that positive attitude, body language, and just all in all being giving an incredible fight despite never truly feeling like she's back. Well, she was back in the match at 5-4, okay, but like before that, she was never really in the match up until late in the third set. So that's something we can't take away from her. Has Krejčíková had to save a breakpoint in every game this set, or was there one where she didn't?
I think she has. Definitely in 2 of them, but I can't remember the third one she did.
I don't see Paulini winning, says Ghosty, but I hope I'm wrong. You'll never see Rybakina put up as many unforced errors as Vekic did today. I mean, we kind of did that. We kind of saw that at the at Roland Garros, right? I was also over 50, I think. But yeah, I mean, on grass, probably not. I'm assuming you've seen the Krejčíková ace already for to save breakpoint.
Yeah, I mean, I've just also seen her serve to hold again, which I think this set has definitely been better from Krejčíková. I think she's already 4 and she's still in it, and especially serving first, she's got that kind of advantage mentally in the scoreboard.
Yeah, I think especially when you lost the first set, it can be pretty huge. But of course, if you hold really. But yeah, just hope that you're gonna hold a few times, and then potentially there's gonna be that 4-5 game, 5-6 game when maybe the opponent starts feeling the pressure. But yeah, every single game of the set so far, Krejčíková has had to save a breakpoint. In fact, if we go back to the first set, so far, every single game on the Krejčíková serve, she's either lost it or had to save a breakpoint.
Yeah.
That's pretty striking, I have to say. But then again, I mean, the last 4 games on serve, she's saved 5 breakpoints. She at least won in every game, and yet she's still alive, and yet she's won 4 of these games, all 4 of these games. So it's both impressive and kind of scary as well. Yeah, in terms of her potential chances of winning the match. But yeah, sometimes it's just one game that turns it around. We'll see. We're trying, Snehil, we're trying. And I think we have been the last minute or so, kind of just saying that, as long as she keeps holding, there's always going to be a chance.
Yeah, the more breakpoints she fends off, the more you think she's got a shot in the second set.
It could kind of bounce back and, fire back at Rybakina or whatever. Okay. Sorry, Snehil, then. I thought you were talking to us. Your rapid fire question, Matt, is Birmingham or Leicester from Ghosty. Where are you from, by the way? Are you from one of these places?
No, I'm from Coventry, which is like next to it. So it's a tough question, particularly if you're going to go about football. But I think I'll go with, as I make more visits to Birmingham, I'll go with Birmingham. It has more relevance to my life, so I'll go there. And plus Leicester are bigger rivals to Coventry.
Nurlan, you misspelled Volinets, on purpose, just because you wanted to put the volley in there. And by the way, we will have a very interesting game here. I mean, the drop shot from Krejčíková was class at first. Then we get an unforced error from Rybakina. So maybe this is the chance that Barbora has been working towards with all these breakpoint saves.
And this is it. In the first set, she was actually finding luck in the return games, so it hasn't really translated to the second. But now it might be.
Up until now, yeah.
Double fault, and yeah, we're.
Yeah, Rybakina double fault. 2 breakpoints for Krejčíková. I think in a couple of rallies in this game, she's also like found a way to be aggressive. I don't know if this is more on the quality of the return that was simply good enough to kind of keep Rybakina on the back foot. But even that drop shot that she got to, like, it wasn't like she played a drop shot randomly off a very strong ball from Rybakina. She first pushed her behind the baseline and then played it. So it's improvement. I mean, it's definitely improvement.
Now Krejčíková, she does have that break. That is big.
Yeah, lovely shot deep down the middle, and she gets an error from Rybakina. So we've got a match. I think now we can say we've got a match. I think it was maybe in the first set, maybe it was 4-love, and there was a break, and someone said, maybe John, maybe you, that we might have a match. Right now, we can say that we have a match.
Yeah,
that's for.
Especially if Krejčíková holds for a 5th consecutive game. I mean, that would be big. Ghost is asking you a question about Polish cities and me about castles.
Do you know these castles?
Yeah, I'll go with Warwick Castle. It's more iconic.
I've never heard of them, to be honest.
Yeah, it's very local.
England or Wales? I honestly, my knowledge on Wales isn't that extensive, right? I mean, I know it exists. I know the language that you guys have there. I mean, I don't know it as in speak it or whatever, but that's kind of one of the difference makers. Cardiff, Swansea, and stuff. But yeah, I don't feel like I can even answer this. And Warsaw or Kraków, I've been to Warsaw a lot more times. Do I actually like it? I think it's a little posh, and it's a little like, everything is in there. It's so much bigger than any other city in Poland. I'm definitely fine living in the slightly smaller ones all my life. So I would still probably go Warsaw. That's just because Kraków is not a city I've explored that much. I mean, I've been there a few times, but I don't really have that much experience with it, really. Warsaw, I've been to just, I don't know, like every year, like once or twice, really.
Great point there from Krejčíková. And now you get asked about 2 Polish ATP players.
Hubert Hurkacz, Kamil Majchrzak. I probably have more of an emotional bond with Kamil, to be honest, and especially now that he's coming back after that suspension and everything. The story is very much something that I do follow. Hubert is fine. I mean, I think he's a nice guy. I definitely wish him well, but yeah, he's kind of like introverted, and I don't know, just probably tough to kind of form any connection with. I've also had a lot less contact with him, sort of on a professional level than with Kamil, for sure. So I think I have to say Kamil. He's more watchable to me as well. So yeah, 5-2. I have some sort of a rally on my screen where they show us 11 shots on a replay, and there's some dots when the ball bounced. It was another one of these Krejčíková drop shots. Then she also tracks down the response. And yeah, we do have a match. Ghosty was saying earlier in the chat that Zygmunt, of course, was the only set that Rybakina lost the entire event. She is very close to losing another.
Yeah, that was the first game that Krejčíková hadn't faced a break point on her serve. So a strong service game, really, in the scheme of things.
Matthew giving a lot of credit to Barbora, tremendous fight that she's showing. And Hector again pointing out the Barbora ability to find the corners and mentioning the Ostrava final, which we were talking about earlier. And Nurlan, my major was, it's tough to translate it, I guess something like American Studies, which is basically English philology, but focused on the, like all the additional subjects like history, literature are focused on the States. And I wrote my thesis on early American horror cinema and its German expressionist roots. So that's it, really. But yeah, it's the end of my academic career, I think. I'm pretty sure. Although, I don't know. You never know. But it was just a time waster, really. I just wanted to have that degree for, you know, if I ever need it. For now, I haven't needed it, and hopefully that will be the case until the end of my life as well. If it works out in tennis, then I'm not going to need it. So that's kind of the idea.
Jake, really not a fan of Krejčíkova's game.
Ooh, really? That's quite interesting. Yeah, Ghosty, a lot of racism topics, a lot of Indians, a lot of stuff like that, a lot of woke culture as well, as in like, you know, feminism studies and stuff. That was kind of the social stuff. Other than that, history, literature, yeah. And of course, a lot of language classes as well. But actually, the language classes ended after like a year or two, and they were pretty low level, to be honest. But yeah, Barbora boring the life out of you is not a popular opinion. Yeah, I agree. I can kind of see it in like a matchup where maybe she would be dominating a bit, but against Ostapenko, she was fun to watch, and definitely has been fun to watch in like these Świątek clashes. Has she been fun to watch today? I would like to see a bit more, maybe. You know, again, diving into that variety pool of hers, but she's getting there. You know, she is feeling a bit more confident now, and maybe we will see it. Maybe in the third set.
I mean, we all thought that Rybakina was going to run away with this after that first set, so I think she's done really well to not only keep battling with Rybakina, but actually look like she's going to take the second and force a decider.
Jake says that he has that opinion because he was desperate for Pavlyuchenkova to win Roland Garros. Yeah, that's fair. Obviously, massive chance for both players. Looks like potentially the last opportunity for Pavlyuchenkova and the first as well. And Terry, that's a very good question. I think my degree is not limiting me in any way, but it's also not giving me any actual opportunities. But there's a lot of jobs still which kind of require you to have a master's, and it doesn't really matter from what. But yeah, it's definitely a course that doesn't really give you any qualifications per se. It's just kind of, you know, you get the paper. It's not too tough, and yeah, I mean, then do whatever. But I'm glad that during the course I was still doing, you know, pretty much working from the start of the studies to kind of have anything on the side, but not even on the side. Like, of course, working was my main priority, even on this crappy course. But yeah, I think like I kind of think if I didn't, then I would be in trouble. So it's a very fair question to ask. Yes. And yeah, 5-3, Barbora Krejčíková, you've been holding, but you've been holding with some questions, let's say, in these games, and you've been holding with a lot of breakpoints to save. So let's see if you can deliver on this most important game of the second set and get us to the decider. Pretty unexpected turnaround, I have to say. I mean, we were saying that, like, you know, she holds, she might be in this match soon, but I mean, she's really made it work. And the fight is there. And this looked like it might be her cleanest hold of the match, right?
Yeah, I mean, the last hold, I think, was to 15, so that if she could do this one better.
Jake, you're the second person to ask me this question, and unfortunately, again, I have to say I think I watched one of his matches at the Australian Open last year or something like that, but I can't tell you anything. I will try to catch his quarter tomorrow, maybe, if I can. And I also don't know if the invitational doubles pays for the players. I guess it must, a little bit at least.
I imagine so.
I doubt all of them that would come, for charity there. Although they might just be, wanting to play again at Wimbledon for the nostalgia. Why not?
It is a pretty good lineup this year.
It is, but I just can never really get into it, honestly. And it's
Yeah,
the same thing for me with exhibition tennis in general. Like when there's no stakes, I just cannot get involved. I just don't care. If they played it more seriously, then maybe. But yeah, I mean they're clearly all having fun, which is good. If someone enjoys that, sure. I just like whatever level of tennis, or whatever names. It's what's more important to me is that they're like really competitive and they're really trying to win at all cost. Which, in the Grand Slam semifinal, they definitely are. Sometimes it even makes them lose because they want to win so much. Barbora Krejčíková, don't mess this up from 40 love.
It was looking to be her most comfortable service hold, but it's getting close again.
Yeah, just when we thought that Barbora Krejčíková can actually hold serve easily in this match, it stops being that comfortable.
I suppose it's the pressure and set points to level things up.
Yeah, I think for 5-2 she held to 15, so it was already the first hold where she didn't have to save a breakpoint. But here it could have been even to love, but well, now we are again at advantage. Krejčíková, 4th set point for the Czech. Yeah, that Dominic Kepfer lookalike that we mentioned with John is definitely a member of the Krejčíková box, simply. But he does look remarkably like Dominic Kepfer.
Double on 4th set point. Not what she needed.
Brutal stuff, yeah, to double fault on another set point. I kind of had some belief that Krejčíková would make this competitive before I started watching this match. Then I lost it completely. Then, of course, I'm like, yeah, it's the decider already. And now I'm again kind of losing it. It's been a fun ride, for sure. It's not quite Vekic Paulini, definitely not.
No.
But, well, if we get the decider, who knows? You were talking about these classic semifinals in one day on the WTA side. I'm not actually sure when the last time was, but maybe. Oh, sorry. I wonder what your reaction to this point will be.
Another double under. So that is like, that has to be nerves, right? That can't be a coincidence. If Krejčíková does go on to win this set and maybe this match, Ghost is asking who would fare better in a Krejčíková-Paolini matchup.
Yeah, I mean, another double fault on set point. This is pretty crazy, not gonna lie. She's fuming, and you can totally get that. And Krejčíková Paolini, I think it's much trickier to call for sure than Rybakina Paolini. I would not be able to tell you who's the favorite there.
She has got another chance. Will she double fault again?
That is the question, Ghosty. Did Krejčíková hold?
She didn't double fault this time, first serve in. And she does get that hold and take the second set. Great
Finally,
fight.
yeah. I don't think we ever got to breakpoint, right? But it was just really long with the 6 set points. So she stays alive. We're gonna get that deciding set, and well, everything is pretty open now. 39-31 total points won now Krejčíková in this set. So she did kinda dominated, I guess. There were 3 games when Rybakina had breakpoints, but it was always just 1 each. And Jake with some good priorities in the chat as well. My security job tried to get me to work Friday, and I told them the Wimbledon semifinals are on. Yeah, absolutely. Juggling. I was just thinking about this yesterday. Like, being a tennis fan and like doing it properly, like it's really tough to work at the same time.
I think we spoke about this earlier. What Jake's asking, does Vekic make another Grand Slam semi-final? I think I went with probably not. And I think, did you agree?
Yeah, I think I agreed earlier that like it's unlikely, just as it was unlikely before the event that she will ever make it, probably. But I do have to say she would probably perform better on a mental level if she ever made it again. Because today it was kind of the nerves were eating her up so clearly, and I would assume that she does a bit better. Everyone can sort of go through emotions in their own personal way, of course. I think I don't want to be too harsh on this, but to me, if you're crying after not breaking at 5-0 in the third, you're really asking to lose that match, because it's just going to be tougher to keep your game in check, your body in check, even your head in check, if you are sort of on that sort of emotional state. So that was rough. She would probably do better if she got there again, but she's not exactly that likely right now. Do you think Putintseva has what it takes to do what Paolini is doing? Obviously, she has a different style, but in terms of level, sure. I mean, she's made some deep runs at slams, right? I mean, she can handle the best pros as well. She is very different emotionally to Jasmine on the court, but she is also quite feisty and has that never say die attitude. So you could see it, I think.
The arrows just keep on.
Well, it's just so unrealistic, right? What Jasmine did. That I don't know. What are you gonna say?
I was also going to say, just talk about Paolini. When do you think, or do you think it will ever have like a shift in attitude? Because I still think with Paolini, it's very like, wow, like look what she's doing. Do you think people will ever be like, she's made Roland Garros final, won Dubai, made Wimbledon final, potentially win the title? Do you reckon people will see her as a top 5 player, or do you think it's still a bit like of a shock factor?
Interesting way of putting it. I definitely think people will not be treating her as seriously as Rybakina, Goff, Świątek, Sabalenka. For now, they probably shouldn't, I would say. And it's going to be more like, yeah, what an amazing season for her. It's probably never going to happen again.
Yeah,
I mean, of course, her last year was really nice too, but yeah, not that level.
I think that's the thing. I think because she's not like a player who's just come out, like a young player who's come out of nowhere. She's been around for a while, sort of around the 40-30 mark, and just had an incredible season. But it's hard, I think, even for me subconsciously to sort of be like, yeah, this is where she's at now. But she will be top 5 on Monday, regardless of what happens.
Yeah, I think that was already true after she won her quarter, but yeah, she definitely will not be considered part of the top 5, sort of as a group by the general public. Which, yeah, I mean, I get that, but making the Channel Slam sort of the finals at the Channel Slam is crazy, and yeah, and we're seeing Krejčíková attack quite a lot in this game, and I actually also have that breakdown of how much they were on the attack in sets 2 and 1, and Krejčíková was on the attack in 30% of points in the second set, compared to 15 in the first. So that does tell you a lot about how this match has been going, and in the second set, and also even in this game. I know she lost it, but she had her chances.
Obviously, the second set, it was Krejčíková serving first. Do you think that's a factor in this third? Obviously, Rybakina is the one who will, if they hold, will be leading the scoreboard, and Krejčíkova's kind of got to catch up.
Maybe. I mean, it was very close to not being a factor in this first game when Krejčíková went 30 love up, to be honest, but yeah, that love 30, hopefully it doesn't come back to bite Krejčíková this time. But I'm actually kind of still surprised that Krejčíková was more on the attack, even more than Rybakina in the second set. Although I guess the first game of the third as well was pretty striking in that sense. It did feel like suddenly we have all these points that Krejčíková is in control of on the Rybakina serve.
And also Rybakina had a lot of breakpoint chances in that second set. Do you think that's going to start getting to her if she can't take a break?
Maybe. She had them all at the beginning of the second set, and since none. But it also could be false hope, as Nurlan says. Although, didn't you predict Krejčíková to beat Rybakina yesterday? I think you did. I was just laughing at the comment that Jake made earlier. Is Paulini really that short? I mean, she looks like it, but I don't think she's like comically short,
she 5'3"?
I think we have short.
Or...
Yeah, so that's like normal, right? For
a bit below
woman,
average, but nothing crazy.
What a crazy backhand down the line from Krejčíková, though, to go 40-30 up. She's still very intent on taking matters into her own hands. And yeah, that has really turned the match around. Kind of reminds me of Mr. Musetti yesterday. Well, yesterday, yeah. When he was just like playing with absolutely zero idea in the first set, like no game plan, just slices the ball back. And then suddenly he is just a bit more courageous in taking his opportunities. And it really just makes a complete shift. And yeah, in the first set, Krejčíková had very little clue how to actually diffuse Rybakina as well. Now she's not really diffusing her power. She's really found ways to hit back at it. That first game of the third set, I actually forgot to talk about it, but there was that game point for Rybakina as well. And we saw Krejčíková make one of these net approaches that we talked about earlier. I mean, she didn't get it because she netted the volley, but like the play was absolutely the right thing to do. But of course, yeah, she's not always going to get to do it against Elena.
I think it's just important that she mixes it up because she's not going to outpower Rybakina.
Yeah.
Good net play
but
for
she
Rybakina.
Knows that, right?
Yeah.
She's a smart player. She knows that.
Yeah. Definitely one of the smarter players on tour, I'd say.
Oh, yeah. It is one of her biggest strengths. Yeah, fair that to you, Jake. Paulini might be a dwarf, yeah. I don't remember how tall Jake is exactly, but I know he's, 6'8", yeah. Like Pecci Pericard, maybe? I think that's somewhere around that territory. I think Pecci Pericard is, no, maybe even taller. Or around that height, yeah. Anyway, feet and inches, of course, are pretty tricky for me. I don't calculate them that easily. I know the numbers. Like if you gave me a piece of paper, I would do it.
See, I get confused with meters. I couldn't tell you. I'm always converting.
Yeah, it's something you use different. But what can you do about it at this stage? I mean, it would require one of the sides to just cave in and say, "Yeah, okay, we're switching." That's never gonna happen.
Never gonna happen.
You also use you also have the steering wheel on the wrong side of the car. I don't know if you're aware.
It's the right side.
It is the right side. It is the right side, yes.
Really?
The steering wheel is on the right side, yeah. That was another really nice backhand down line from Krejčíková. I don't know if it's going to give her anything in this game, as it was at love 40, but nothing bad about showing that sort of aggressive intent. Oh, women definitely prefer a man who's taller than them because they kind of look at things like, how are we going to look in, like official outfits, and well, I personally wouldn't care if a woman was taller than me, although maybe the society would make me care. Just kind of, it is maybe even laughed off a little bit, like if your girlfriend is taller than you. I don't know. But yeah, it's definitely true. It's not only research, it's, the eye test of mine is also telling me that the life experience. Yeah, I wonder what's the speed of Jake's serve. I think all these players you mentioned, like Halep, Golf, they're really not that short. Goff also has one of the best first serves in the game.
Yeah, Goff is quite tall actually, 5'9", which is 1.77 meters.
Okay, that's almost as tall as I am.
And Halep is 1.68 meters, which is
so again, not short.
Yeah, 5'6", so both above average. I mean, at least that's what Google says.
Yeah, I think height data should be fine. Like height data is okay. The weight data is always wrong, but well, the players put it in themselves. So, but actually, height data sometimes is also wrong. I mean, some players just will put. I think especially males. Females probably not so much. They don't care about the height, but males, yes. Like Richard Gasquet, I think had something like, you know, I'm as tall as Roger Federer or something like that, and yeah, it just wasn't true.
No, I'm asking you who you think the WTA version of Daniil Medvedev is.
Oh, in what sense? This is a very unorthodox play style. It's a good question. Like very weird technique as well. Why is no one coming to mind right away?
I know, I'm struggling.
Yeah. Do we have a top player who's like that? Probably not.
No, I wouldn't say a top player, no.
Yeah, but like not even anyone in top 30 or thereabouts comes to mind.
Maybe someone in the chat could.
Yeah, I was thinking of Krejčíková just because we're watching her right now, and sure, she has like some elements of what Medvedev can do on the court, but is she that unorthodox though? I don't know. But yeah, sure. I mean, she's one of the potential answers. Yes. 2 games all. Oh, sorry, I kind of spoiled it for you, but it was an easy game for Krejčíková.
I think it was kind of clear it was going that way, but you never know with this match.
Yeah, you never know. It could have been 40-love and then 8 breakpoints that she had to save. But yeah, it's not going to be, sorry. But yeah, 2 games all, we are definitely heating up in this deciding set.
It's definitely looking like Krejčíkova's serve is becoming less and less of a factor, and she's more and more comfortable. But she's got to stay on it.
That's funny, Jake. I don't really remember that. I'm not sure what we were arguing about. I'm pretty sure Vansh was on the pro Krejčíková side probably, and I was on the one that said, nah, she's not gonna, I don't know, do any. I don't know what event or what time of the year we're even talking about. But yeah, wish I could rewatch it somewhere. I mean, you can probably rewatch it on the channel, right? If we knew which stream that was, which we probably don't. But yeah, just based on kind of other conversations, I can guess that Vansh was very pro Krejčíková in that discussion, which is not to say that I'm very against her or anything, but definitely there's been times when her form was not appealing to me. This year, well, I mean, she was actually good at the beginning, right? Australian Open, but then she totally went off the radar, just had an injury. Didn't win a match on clay, I think, at all. She went 0-4, and now finding her way back. But if you think about it, sort of in a vacuum, Australian Open quarter, Wimbledon semi at least, it's not a bad year for her at all. It's just that the injury kind of messed her up.
Yeah, other than Roland Garros, the slams have been pretty good.
Yeah, she just didn't win anything on clay.
That was the most comfortable hold I think I've seen in, well, like probably the most comfortable hold of the match from Rybakina there.
It was about the excitement of Barbora making it to latter stages of events. Okay, and I guess Vansh was very excited, and I was like, yeah, sure, which is pretty much my response to everything, right? So far, the third set is very weird compared to the previous two. We just have easy holds for both players. Not much is happening.
Yeah, I think just I don't know if it's just me. I still think Rybakina is just going to get that break from somewhere. That's just how I feel at the moment. But Krejčíkova's dug in and really made this more of a match than I was expecting it to be. But I think as well with Rybakina serving first, I think the scoreline makes it a lot more tricky to feel like you're constantly chasing.
It could very well be a factor. Rybakina now finding some easier holds than in the second set, than in the first set as well. If she just keeps piling on the pressure, maybe Krejčíková will crack at some point. Yeah, someone on Twitter just saying what we were talking about earlier with Vekic, that like he felt that Donna was cool until she started going physically, which yeah, I would just reply what I said earlier on the stream, that to me it was like the nerves kind of brought that out.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? We could be in for another third set tiebreak, but time will tell. Krejčíková sprayed a forehand wide there. No, I'm asking if we missed Belinda Bencic. I wouldn't say specifically.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I wouldn't say that the tour needs Bencic, but I enjoy her when she's on the tour. She's a good player. I don't know when she's planning to come back. I don't know if the Olympics is too much of a stretch, but obviously she had a baby this year. As the defending champion winning gold in Tokyo.
Yeah, I think especially as we're going to be watching the Olympics and even this event, you know, you remember that match with Świątek last year.
Yes,
so
yes.
Yeah, if there's any Bencic nostalgia, then around this time of the year, it's definitely going to turn up. And is she actually going to defend that Olympics title, or is she still going to be out?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the entry list and I can't.
Okay. Yeah, I can't
her.
remember that either. But it would be cool, of course, for her if she managed.
Yeah, I don't think she is. Because the only Swiss flag I've seen is for Golubic.
Oh, okay. That's a shame.
Yeah, it might just be too soon in the comeback, because I did see some posts on of her practicing, but
a great lengthy rally that Krejčíková won. She has a 40-30 points now. Potentially just get us halfway to the tiebreak. Right. Interesting stat on my screen as well, that Krejčíkova's only top 20 wins of the season have come here, which, yeah, again, her season has been like all over the place. But then again, she also reached the Australian Open quarterfinal, so she must have done it without that. It's a bit of a shame, Jake. Sure, I get that. But then again, we're watching two very competitive semis today, right? So we can't really be too angry about it. Would it be slightly better for women's tennis if maybe Rybakina was playing Świątek here? Maybe. But then again, the clay season was like a really nice. Well, up until Roland Garros, the clay season was a very good show off, I think, for all these big names in the sport. Maybe Barbora Krejčíková can cook something up here. And what is Agnieszka Radwańska doing these days? Is she still very much in the public eye in Poland or more low-key? I mean, she definitely gets like asked about tennis stuff quite a lot. She used to play in the Polish league as well. Just like a year or two ago, she played with her sister in doubles. And she's, you know, she's there. Her husband does tennis commentary and like, you know, he's on TV. She sometimes is in some capacity as well. I think she remains a pretty public person.
Yeah, I believe she's playing invitational doubles as
Yeah,
well.
she's playing the doubles. Yeah, she's playing at Wimbledon this year. I think she's played a few slams in a row now.
Yeah.
Very ambitious net approach from Rybakina there, and she's gonna get punished. So it's love 30. Did any of Talking Tennis think Krejčíková would win this, says Sean? Not really, I think. I have this these betting previews that I do for a Polish website, and I kind of tipped this match to be close, like it was a spread on Krejčíková. But honestly, the odds were just very, they were just comically low, I think, for that. So it was just like Krejčíková to win like 5 games less than Rybakina or closer, or something like that. So that, of course, has been covered. But I still was kind of writing there that, well, I expect Rybakina to prevail. Just thought that Barbora is going to keep it reasonably tight. For a while, it didn't look like she would.
Yeah, our producer said that he didn't think that Krejčíková would win and still doesn't, but it's...
I think Nurlan tipped it actually in the comments yesterday. Krejčíková to win against Rybakina. He might have been just like anti-jinxing though, because he really likes Rybakina and wanted her to win Wimbledon.
She's got 2 chances here to get that all-important break in this decider.
Yeah, first time in the match, Krejčíková could lead.
And she does. Like, yeah, I was not expecting this at all.
Yeah, she does get there. Just 2 holes away now, Krejčíková, and she hasn't been broken since the first set, despite some of these wild things at the beginning of the second. So this is her chance now.
Do you think that this is about Krejčíková or Rybakina, like, or both? I think it's been a drop in level for Rybakina.
No, I think it's really more about Krejčíková finding a way to, well, not take the racket out of her hands completely, but just, not allowing Rybakina to keep steamrolling her.
Yeah.
And that has really shifted the match to me. Like, I'm more impressed with Krejčíková's attitude / tactical improvements rather than actually anything else from Rybakina. I think Elena has been playing pretty much the same stuff that earlier. It's just that earlier every single point was under her command, on her terms, and it's not like that anymore. It's far from it. In fact, I mean, even to a bigger extent that I was thinking of, given the stats that they showed us after the second set. So I do definitely admire the turnaround more than actually kind of think of this as a big dip in Rybakina's level. She's not making like, some crazy unforced errors either for the most part. it's just a more even battle of the ground now. Both players are now punching each other rather than just one.
Great return for Rybakina. Really, I think she's gonna be trying to do what she was doing in that first set in this opening in this service game for Krejčíková.
Yeah, I mean, we know that Rybakina will likely stay cool, calm, collected. So definitely it's not over. It's far from it.
Yeah, it's definitely not over. Really good start to the return game for Rybakina, looking to get that break straight back. And that is just how tennis works sometimes. Sometimes you go ages without a break, then you get two back-to-back. But we've seen Krejčíková claw out of these situations before. That's a good way of starting that with an ace. I think Rybakina is challenging, but he just about clips the line. Another challenge from Rybakina back-to-back. She looks less convinced about this one.
I was kind of afraid for Vekic today in the tiebreak earlier.
Or with the challenges.
She had no challenges, right? And she had that backhand on the line, for example, that easily could have been called out.
Yes.
Then she would be in trouble. Yeah, in the end, it didn't end up impacting her. But Rybakina is kind of close to that now. Do I think every player with powerful ground strokes should always return the second serves further behind the baseline? Not really. I mean, if you have powerful ground strokes, you can always also step in and take them earlier. Why not? I mean, Taylor Fritz for a while was just like dismantling Musetti's serve yesterday, just by standing very close and taking time away. I think it's really dependent. But then again, if you had someone like Santiago Giraldo, right, who didn't have that good timing but had enormous power, then he always was like just 3 meters behind the baseline and still hitting winners from there. Wawrinka, I think it's definitely a better strategy for him. I guess probably it depends like where your power comes from. If you're like a really thunderous arm strength player, or if you're just more technical maybe, and on that you rely more on the timing. But yeah, it also depends, of course, on opponents and stuff. But I always try to be as far into the court as I can, if given the chance. I just feel like I can do more with that. Of course, it's a very weird comparison because we're comparing a trashy amateur player to pros, but it is what it is. And yeah, Krejčíková 5-3 up, one game away. Who would have thought an hour and 90 minutes ago? Oh wow, Jake. There's been a few like these already. There's definitely been some matches where you just stop watching them and for the next 30 minutes you can't think about anything else. I will give an answer that is kind of random, maybe, but I'm gonna say Alexander Blocks last year in Danderit at the Challenger when he beat Corentin Moutet. That was just such an incredible display. He is injured right now, but I do have a lot of belief in him becoming a top player eventually. Of course, he won the Australian Open last year in the juniors, and that whole match was just incredible. With Moutet, of course, like forcing him to end the point in 4 or 5 shots every single time. Blocks coming up with the most ridiculous pieces of shot making I've ever seen. And I literally I almost had tears in my eyes after watching that. It was an incredible experience. But yeah, of course, there's been a few by now. So it's hard for me to point out one really, but I'm gonna say that. Well, looks like Rybakina will be asking the question of Barbora. And by the way, there were these inquiries in the chat earlier into the Krejčíková-Paolini matchup. After this, right, after watching this, what Krejčíková did in this match for the last hour or so, aren't you now more confident that she would also beat Paolini if they play?
Well, that's kind of what the real Hector in the chat is suggesting, that he thinks that Rybakina would be a better matchup for Paolini than Krejčíková.
I think both beat Paolini. After watching this, I have to think that Krejčíková just finds a way. She's gonna, even if she's in trouble, she's gonna grow herself into the match somehow.
And Krejčíková has shown over the years that she's a big match player. When it comes to the finals, she really raises her level.
Yeah. How many has she played at WTA 1000s? I'm not sure, but she definitely won in Dubai, right? Over Świątek.
Dubai.
I'm not sure if she's played more, but she definitely played of course, the Roland Garros final, and she also has played a lot in doubles, which could be helpful, right?
Yeah, a multi-time Grand Slam champion in doubles, so she knows how to win on the big stage. Whereas Paolini hasn't quite got there yet, but
Paolini has that magical touch, says Hector. Does she have more magical touch than Krejčíková? Probably not. And yes, 5-4 Barbora Krejčíková. What a crazy turnaround. And now she just has to hold once, which of course can be very tricky. Hasn't dropped her serve since the first set. Hasn't had to save a break point since the middle of the second set.
That's a great first serve to kick off this potentially deciding game. 15-love Krejčíková. Another one long there for Rybakina, and Krejčíková is just 2 points away from a first Wimbledon final. She's not going to miss that smash at the net with 3 match points for Krejčíková. I mean, this has been some performance from the Czech. And she's done it. That's unbelievable from Krejčíková. I think, particularly after that first set, people didn't give her a shot, and she's really just fought and used her tennis IQ to really stop the power of Rybakina. I think Rybakina definitely upped the errors, but at the same time, you've got to give all the credit to Krejčíková.
Yeah, I mean, she was getting smashed off the court in the first set. You couldn't really understand how she is supposed to hold serve. all the time she was either getting broken or saving breakpoints. And then she actually finds a way to like fire back. You know, she not only improves that serve, but also she's like hitting back at Rybakina, I think, with these like deeper, flatter shots, very different to how she actually beat Ostapenko, which is impressive to me as well, that it was a completely different strategy against, in theory, a similar opponent. And yeah, I mean, it gives me a lot of confidence that she can also do it in the final, maybe. That like whatever Paolini throws at her, even if it stuns her, even if it stuns Barbora for a second or two, for maybe for a set, then she'll probably sort of have a good chance of turning the match around just because of her versatility and how, Jasmine is a very simple player, actually. She just kind of goes out, cracks the forehands, and that's mostly it. I mean, she grinds, she finds very well. Whereas Krejčíková, the last couple of matches especially, she's shown a lot of layers to her game, and maybe that will be enough. Yeah, she makes the upset of the championships kind of for me. I mean, I know Putintseva beat Świątek, but Świątek, I guess if she played Rybakina in the semis, I would have considered her the underdog. So I think Krejčíková makes the more monumental result for me.
The real heck to say that the head-to-head is the real of Krejčíková. I think he's talking about the head-to-head with Rybakina, but the head-to-head between Krejčíková and Paolini is 1-0 to Krejčíková, but I don't think you can take much from that because that only meeting came in Australian Open qualifying 6 years ago.
That's pretty funny that they're qualifying. Yeah.
And now they're in a Grand Slam final. I mean, in some ways, I think going off form, it's actually more of a surprise that Krejčíková is in the final because Krejčíková, other than the Australian Open quarterfinal, has been having a tough year, particularly with injury and I think some illness as well. But she's proved why she's a Grand Slam champion and could be a 2-time Grand Slam champion on some Saturday.
Yeah, she had a tricky one as well with Kudermetova in the first round. Like both players similarly out of form, but similarly potentially dangerous. And yeah, that was amazing. What is Alcaraz's worst performance, Nurlan? Sure, might be Zverev in terms of just the most brainless he played. Of course, there were worse in terms of just unforced errors all around, but it might be the most brainless. Head-to-head against Paolini, 3-0 Krejčíková? Where do you see that? No, against Rybakina. Okay,
I think that's Rybakina.
Rybakina it is now. And I think she also turned around the Ostrava match in a similar fashion. She also lost the first set 3-6 and then won 7-6, 6-4 or something like that. Sid says that all talk of top 3 or 4 is simplistic. There are quite a few good players in WTA with differing forms at various times. Yeah, but there is a top 4 that like really outshines everyone else in terms of consistency, especially. And if these 4 players lose somewhere, then like it's Wild West. Like it's literally anyone can do it. Anyone can make a final. Anyone can get the title. Krejčíková, of course, is very much in that group of anyone's who can pull it off. Paolini deserves a lot of credit for getting there 3 times this year, like picking up these pieces 3 times this season. But definitely she did remarkably well to get there. And yeah, what else can we say?
Yeah, so you're back in.
We've seen 2 very good semis today after all, right?
Yeah, 2 very competitive semis. I think the first one was slightly higher quality, but I think this one was more interesting because of the way that Krejčíková turned the tide.
First one was higher drama. This one was higher quality, I'd say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in terms of like entertainment, compelling watch, yeah, the first one is kind of unbeatable. But this was a very good counterpart to it, a great foil to it, I think. And yeah, should be a very unexpected, but still a very good storyline final. Krejčíková, Paolini, both Roland Garros and Wimbledon. Krejčíková doing this out of nowhere now, but also kind of has a Roland Garros and Wimbledon final in her arsenal now, under her belt. So yeah, very unexpected, but she did remarkably well to come back here. And it is the stuff of John Silk's dreams, actually. Ghosty is right about it. As I've said many times, John clearly has a crush on Paolini. And also, Krejčíková, he was picking her to do like ridiculous stuff last year. She was his pick to make the final in every slam or something like that. So yeah, I'm pretty sure this time he picked her to lose in round one. Which yeah, I agree about that. I mean, in the first round against Kudermetova, it was such a horrible 3-hour mess from both players. They were both similarly out of form, potentially dangerous if they just find a nice draw, which actually they had after the first round. So kudos to Barbora for like really turning this event into a completely resurgence. And yeah.
Yeah, it should be a good final in 2 days' time.
Thank you, Hector, for the great coverage, guys. Nulan thought John had a crush on Madison Keys. No, I mean, Madison Keys actually doesn't like John. She didn't like his questions in Strasbourg and was very, unpleasant maybe is a stretch, but was like kind of harsh to him after she didn't like the first one that he asked her that week. But yeah, anything more to add on the Rybakina Krejčíková match or on the final on Saturday?
No, I just kind of hope it's as competitive as these 2 semi-finals have been, and yeah, it'd be interesting. I mean, I don't think anyone would have predicted Krejčíková to become a 2-time Grand Slam champion this year, but it's probably looking likely.
Yeah, by Thursday, my interest in a Grand Slam event is usually much lower already. By second Thursday, I should say. But I do not regret watching this match. Definitely not. I do not regret watching the previous one either. I think this was a really remarkable couple of Final Four encounters that we got. Hopefully, the final will deliver. I hope it will. I think at least, with Rybakina Pauli, there was this chance that Elena just comes out and blows her off the court in like an hour. I think with Barbora, even if she's going to win, it's probably going to take a bit longer. Like she's probably going to have to work Paulini out a little bit more. She's not really going to do like a 6-2, 6-1 Świątek final at Roland Garros. I think it's going to take, just more, even if it's confident, even if it's comfortable. So it maybe it's better for the actual match we're going to see on Saturday. Who knows? And that's probably going to be it then from us. Thank you, Matt, for... Well, actually, it was me who joined you, but I guess thank you for doing this commentary with me, and thank you to everyone in the chat. John says that we will be live in a few minutes. What does that mean?
Yeah, I don't know who that is, but I guess they'll be covering both semi-finals. I don't know who that will be, but
no, ignore it. He says, okay, never mind then.
I'm fine.
Yeah, I have another show. Okay. About to go live. All right. So there will be apparently another show about to go live. So tune into that, guys. And okay, it's going to be a men's semis preview. Tune into that. Tune into the semis coverage tomorrow as well. And yeah, let's keep talking tennis. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, everyone in the chat. And see ya.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.